You could hear the footsteps from halfway across the map, and its lock-on wasn't nearly fast enough to catch people running away. Now, you could manually control this thing, but what's the point? It's still slow and obvious. It could have been awesome, like some super roided up version of a GI unit from Black Ops 3, but it was too slow to be effective in a game as fast-paced as Infinite Warfare. Quick, in the comments section, tell me your favorite kill streak in COD history of all time. Kill streaks don't get enough love, and they have been a staple of Call of Duty ever since COD 4. And they're often a great way to reward the good players while encouraging the less so good players to get better. They're creating that addicting quality COD is known for, but what happens when the kill streaks aren't worth the effort? Well, today I want to take a journey through COD history and pick out the worst kill streak in every single Call of Duty. Now, as a disclaimer, we're going to start with Modern Warfare 2 and go all the way to Modern Warfare 2019 because kill streaks weren't introduced until COD 4. And since COD 4 and World at War only had 3 streaks each, it's kind of pointless to put them on the list because there weren't any bad streaks in those games. So if we can agree on that, we are good. Also, this is going to be lethal streaks only. No tactical, no recon streaks at all. So you guys let me know. Drop a like, show some love. As always, this is powered by Scuf Gaming. Link is in the description. If you get anything from Scuf, your dream controller, merch, accessories, anything, use promo code CHAOS and tweet me if you do. Now let's get into it. Starting things off at Modern Warfare 2, and if you want to tell me what you think is the worst rotation streak in COD 4 and World at War, go ahead, but none of them were bad. So, I mean, you can if you want to. The Sentry Gun. Now, this is a streak that is now a staple of Call of Duty, but it took a few entries to actually get it right, to really hone in on it. The Sentry Gun made its debut in Modern Warfare 2 as a 5-point streak, but it was a little different from the sentries that you're used to. Instead of just clicking the button and putting it down, in Modern Warfare 2, you had to throw down a red smoke grenade that marked a care package. Then you had to capture said care package, and then you got the Sentry Gun. Then, you could place the sentry wherever you wanted to. Now, it was a long process. In Modern Warfare 2, speed was everything. You wanted streaks that wouldn't slow you down and that you could string together one after another. So the Sentry Gun, well, it was a huge pace killer. Then, once you actually got it on the field, it wasn't really good. It was only active for 90 seconds. It could be disabled with a single melee attack or explosives. And if you were using Cold-Blooded, which a lot of people were in Modern Warfare 2, you were invisible to it. I mean, the Sentry Gun has been reworked a couple times throughout COD history, and it's now a staple of the series, and people love them. But there is a reason why you never really saw them on the battlefield in Modern Warfare 2, and nobody ever even talks about them. They weren't worth the time or effort to call in or place. You'd be lucky if you got a kill or two, and some people don't even realize it was in the game. Now we move to Black Ops 1. There were a lot of good streaks in Black Ops 1, but the Valkyrie rockets, I don't know. I would say Black Ops 1 had the best kill streak selection in COD history, but that doesn't mean there weren't any stinkers, and one of the main standouts to me in this department is the Valkyrie. It was a streak that would cost you 7 kills, and you don't stack, you don't get kills for assist, or you had to get those kills. And upon earning it, you would get a rocket launcher with 2 shots. Upon firing said rocket launcher, you would leave your body and manually control the rocket around the map. Now the explosion, it was extremely strong. It dealt 400 damage with a somewhat generous blast radius, but the handling, there was something off about it. The rockets moved quickly, the sensitivity was super bizarre, and actually putting the thing where you wanted to, well, it was a lot harder than it sounded. Plus, if you wanted a manual explosive streak, I mean, why not just use the RC car? I mean, it was only 3 kills, and it was way easier to control, and the blast radius was stupid. Now, there were upsides to the Valkyrie rockets, and they were very effective at destroying other kill streaks, but in terms of actual kill power and ease of use, I don't think it was very good, and you hardly ever saw them online, honestly. Now we arrive at Modern Warfare 3. Remote Sentry. Remember how I said the Modern Warfare 2 Sentry Gun wasn't worth the time or effort? Well, Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer tried to fix that problem in Modern Warfare 3 with the Remote Sentry, but they ended up just getting further away from their destination or solution. As you know, the whole appeal of a Sentry Gun in COD is you set it and forget it. You let it do its thing, watch it spot, clean up anybody that runs by, lock down, choke points, whatever. But the Remote Sentry, it was the exact opposite. It was a 12-point streak, support chain, mind you, where you would place it somewhere, but then in order for it to fire, you had to manually control it. Now, if you're going to manually control a kill streak in COD, you generally want it to be something that will move around the map and can rack up kills, preferably in the air. So tell me, why would anyone want to work for a 12-point streak just so they can put it down in a single spot and then lay there, hoping people would walk by. I mean, I guess the fact that the remote sentry was so strong against helicopters that it was a nice touch, but if you were concerned about helis, I mean, just pull out a launcher. The remote sentry was pointless. I don't think I remember ever seeing anybody actually using it unless they were just trolling or going for funny reactions. Next up is Black Ops 2. Now, before I say anything about the escort drone, keep in mind, this isn't because the drone is bad, but rather everything in Black Ops 2 was really good. Even the worst streaks in the game were beastly in one way or another. With that being said, the escort drone was one of the least used streaks in Black Ops 2, mainly due to it being very expensive and not really worth it. It would cost you 1,250 points. Now, it would call in a small chopper, it would follow you around, kind of like the Dragonfire, but a bit beefier. However, for how much you had to work to get it, it really didn't do too much, and it was pretty much inferior to the stealth chopper, which was also significantly cheaper. So instead of roaming around the map shooting people like the chopper did, the escort drone would just follow you around and only shoot at people if they were immediately around you. It also only came equipped with one flare, which made it pretty easy to shoot down. It did have this slightly hilarious trait where it would always shoot at the person who last killed you, meaning if you got team killed in hardcore, the escort drone would automatically team kill the person right back, which that was funny, but it also had the potential to get you kicked from the game. So again, the escort drone wasn't a bad streak. It was just a little too expensive for what you got in return. For 1,250 points, you could do a lot better. Call of Duty Ghosts, the Moz. Now, Ghosts was a notoriously weak game for kill streaks. Due to Infinity Ward wanting to change up the formula with the game, they really toned down the power of streaks, and it led to the game getting kind of boring. Now, if we're including non-lethal streaks, I think everybody would put the SATCOM here, but since we're only doing lethals, I'm going with the Moz. Now, it was pretty similar to the Valkyrie rockets in Black Ops, and it suffered a lot of the same flaws. It was a rocket launcher you would earn after 9 points that you would manually aim and fire, at which point it would split into 2 rockets, and it could actually lock onto other kill streaks, which was cool. The damage, it was inconsistent. It ranged anywhere from 135 down to 55, so you could hit someone with a kill streak weapon and possibly not even kill them. Now, like the Valkyries, the Moz had strengths. Like I said, it could lock onto other kill streaks, and it could also kill a Juggernaut with one direct impact. But ultimately, hardly anybody used it. The streaks were all around pretty lame in Call of Duty Ghosts, so most people just stuck to the Specialist package instead of that, and quite honestly, I don't blame them. Now we've arrived at Advanced Warfare, and we are back to the remote turret. Once again, another game that had some pretty weak kill streaks. They weren't as weak as Ghosts, but they also didn't stand out the way the Golden Age COD games did. So again, picking out a worse streak in a game like this is going to be tough, but after a bit of thought, I'm going with the remote turret, which returned from Modern Warfare 3 for some reason. Now, after the turret was almost completely unused in Modern Warfare 3, I can't think of the reasoning to bring it back, almost unchanged in a game with advanced movement. So again, it was a turret you placed in a spot of your choosing, and then you had to manually control it by leaving the battlefield and hoping people walk in front of you, which was even less common here than in Modern Warfare 3 because they were flying over you. I mean, it was easy to avoid the gunfire. To be fair, there was a variant of the remote turret that would let the AI control it like a normal sentry, but that wasn't very good either. So why would I boot up Advanced Warfare to not play Advanced Warfare? Tell me that. Black Ops 3, the Rolling Thunder. Now, this one was pretty disappointing when Black Ops 3 first came out. It appeared in Black Ops 1 as an 8-point streak, and it was devastating. It charged a straight line across the map, bombing the crap out of everybody. So when COD players saw BO3 bringing it back, they were hyped. Unfortunately, this one was no good. It did have a ton of kill potential, but that's the problem. Potential is not the same as consistency. The Black Ops 3 Rolling Thunder was nerfed dramatically, so instead of a plane flying over the map and bombing all rather quickly, this one was a series of drones that would dive onto the ground at one time in a big straight line. Well, what's bad about this, you ask? Well, the Rolling Thunder was extremely obvious when it entered the map, giving the enemy plenty of time to get out of the way. To make matters worse, the drones had very low health. And if you were using an LMG with FMJ, you could just shoot a bunch of them down before they ever even touched the ground. It could be good on smaller maps, I guess, like Nuketown and Combine, but why would you run this when you could just run the Hellstorm or the Lightning Strike, or save up your points for a Wraith? For 950 points, it was garbage. And now we've reached Infinite Warfare, and I'm going to go with the RC-8. It looked cooler than it was. It was the second most expensive streak in the game, which made it all the more disappointing when it called it in and didn't get any kills. It was a huge drone that would walk around the map killing anybody it saw, and it was intimidating to jump around the corner and see it thundering at you. However, here's the downside. It was huge, it was slow, and it made it extremely easy to avoid in a game like Infinite Warfare. You could hear the footsteps from halfway across the map, and its lock-on wasn't nearly fast enough to catch people running away. Now, you could manually control this thing, but what's the point? It's still slow and obvious. It could have been awesome, like some super roided up version of a GI unit from Black Ops 3, but it was too slow to be effective in a game as fast-paced in Infinite Warfare. Call of Duty World War II, the Molotov Cocktail. It has appeared in many Call of Duty games as a normal throwable, so you know things are going to be a little underwhelming when the game turns them into a kill streak. COD World War II featured Molotovs. It was a lower level kill streak. Get 3 or 4 kills depending on the game mode. You were given one singular Molotov cocktail, which was functionally identical to the non-kill streak versions of older games. You throw it, creates this little fire puddle, and it burns anyone who walks in it before they disappear. The Molotov was basically used as the World War II equivalent of a thermite grenade, but there really wasn't anything special about it, so why make it a kill streak as opposed to a normal piece of equipment? That was kind of weird by Sledge. They weren't bad. You could cheese objectives pretty well with them in hardcore modes, but why was it a streak? Black Ops 4, the Dart. Now, BO4 had some ridiculous streaks. The Sniper's Nest, the Gunship, the Mantis. There were some good ones, arguably a little too good. But if I had to pick a single worst streak, I'm going with the Dart, which made its return from Black Ops 3, but it suffered the same flaws. It was a hunter-killer drone you would manually control, had a couple rockets to shoot out before smashing into somebody for a little boom. Direct impact would kill an enemy, but if you landed your rockets or the drone near their feet, it was pretty much a coin toss on whether you would kill them or just tickle them a little bit. It was very weak and could be shot down with a couple bullets. Now granted, it was small, and a good pilot would be able to keep it out of harm's way, but it's worth pointing out here. I mean, it was good, but there was a lot of stuff that was better. And we have reached Modern Warfare. I have to go with White Phosphorus. Now, easily the most annoying streak in the game. I get that. But I don't understand what the point of it was. It cost, I think it's 10 kills, 1,250 points if you use Point Man. And you call it in, plane flies over, limits the visibility of both teams, dealing damage to enemies who get close to the actual canisters. Now, let me say again, it limits the visibility of both teams. And it only damages people that actually walk up to the canisters, which no player with average intelligence is going to do. So this streak is super annoying due to how much it slows down the game, and since both teams are affected, it doesn't really help. Now, I could see the appeal of if it was like the Napalm Strike in Black Ops 1, where only enemy team was affected in its current state, but I don't see the point of this streak at all. Is it a troll streak? If so, by all means, keep it in there, because it's funny. Maybe I just don't play Modern Warfare enough to really get it, but I'm giving the prize of the worst streak in the game because I don't see the point of ever calling it in. And there you have it. Those are my picks. You let me know if you agree or disagree. If you guys get anything from G2A, make sure to use promo code CHAOS. Get yourself some cash back, and I'll see you soon.